Hello YouTubers! I'm going to show you something special today. I'm going to show you something that you're going to be using on every project moving forward, especially if you're going to be using TypeScript in Vue 3. Okay, so what I'm talking about is a composable API hook. So it's a way to load APIs from one centralized location using composables for hooks in Vue 3. So I use some of that, or I've been using some of that for about 5 years now or so, and I love it. I use it on every project so far, and I'm sure you're gonna be stealing this and bookmarking this video for your future reference. So our goal today is to create this centralized composable hook for communication with APIs. And then, we are gonna be using that hook to create a new composable hook based on the first hook. So we're gonna be composing a lot of composition here, folks. Another hook just for loading those products. All right, and 3, we are gonna be using TypeScript. So we're gonna be setting up some proper type safety in this project. Now this is gonna be useful, I hope. Stick around and let's get started. I'm gonna be using the same project. So I just started this Vue 3 project with TypeScript. If you wanna know how I did it, take a look at this video and get started right away. So nothing in here, it's just defined component for proper working with TypeScript in Vue 3. Now what I'm gonna be doing is I'm gonna be creating new composables. So right now I'm gonna create a new folder. I'm gonna call it Composable, all right? This is gonna be, my hooks. I could have called it hooks or modules, whatever you'd like. I know in one of the recent videos I called this modules. Now I'm calling it composables. I still need to figure out what the right terminology is. So this is gonna be API.ts. We're using TypeScript, people, so it's gonna be .ts, not .vue, because there's no view, right? No template, just .ts. Good old-fashioned TypeScript. So I'm exporting a function. Export default, and I'm gonna call it function use API. All right, so what I need in this is gonna be some kind of URL, because we're gonna need to connect to something, and some kind of, I guess, options. All right. No type safety right now, nothing. I'm gonna fix that in a bit. I do expect some kind of a response, right? Some kind of data. That's why I'm doing this. So response is going to be ref. Okay, where did we get the ref from? Let's import ref from module view. Oh yeah, I like TypeScript because my VS Code is giving me hints. So we have the response and we also need the request. And the request is going to be a function, and it's going to be an asynchronous function, right? Because we are using the fetch API. Let's see how this works. The response is going to be await fetch, right? Because I'm going to be fetching something with the URL that I mentioned above and the options that I may have mentioned above. And then I need to format that because I expect a JSON. So I'm going to play it safe or simple here. This could be JSON, this could be text, right? But for the simplicity's sake of this example, I'm going to assume that we are getting back a JSON, right? It's going to be an object, an array, or something. Let's call it data. It's going to be await response.json. That's nice. And now that we got this, we need to feed that into our response. Response.value is going to be this data. Yes. All right, so this is it. What did I write here? I wanted to request. Now I probably need to return something. So I'm going to return response, and I'm also going to return request so that whatever consumes this function knows how to work with this. Let's save. I got all my auto formatting done. Okay, and I already see some red lines, right, under URL and under options. This means TypeScript is telling me, hey, we need to secure this. Okay, this is the hard bit. Are you ready? So let's add some types into this example. Okay, if I run this project with serve, TypeScript is not gonna let me fly with URL and options not typed. So what do we have? Options has any type and URL is also going to be empty, right? Or any, I'm sorry. So I need to fix that. Let's close the terminal and let's focus on this bit. I have to deal with the URL first. You know, TypeScript thinks it's any, but I want to use the same type with fetch. And let's see, fetch says the input argument is going to be request info. Let's just steal that from here. Request info. I like that better than string. And then options, okay, first of all, I'm going to say it's optional. And then I'm going to extract the exact type that we should be using here, and that's going to be request init. So let's stick to this for now, and we're going to come back and improve this as we go on. So the next thing that I want to fetch is going to be some products. Okay, let's create a new file, a new composable called products.typescript. Nice. So we're doing the same thing, okay? Export default, and this is going to be an asynchronous function because I want to load them as soon as possible, load the products. So function use products. Okay, I want to load all of them. Inside this, I'm going to be using our use API, okay? Use API composable, and I'm going to import this. Import use API from, well, right here, right? API. Okay, this is good. So we have use API. Let's confirm that this is going to work fine. And I need 1 or 2 arguments. That's fine. I'm going to add them in a bit. What I get back is response and request. All I need right now is response. And I'm going to rename response to products. Now, this is fetching response, but I'm going to be using the variable as products. Okay. Use API requests the URL. I already know what my URL is, and this is a simple Cloudflare worker that is going to fetch us some products. Now I want to create another ref. I'm going to say loaded is going to be ref, and it's going to be false by default. Okay, so ref, I don't know where this comes from. Okay, import from Vue. Right, I love this auto-completion or IntelliSense. Loaded is going to be false, and then if loaded without value, because we use ref, so we need to use that value. If this is still false, then and only then load await request. But hey, I don't have request because request had to come from use API. Of course, I totally forgot about it. So request is going to be this function. So if it's not already loaded, then await request. That means load my projects or products, I'm sorry, and then loaded.value is going to become true. All right, so this means whenever we use products, we need to load the products immediately, but do not load them twice. Now we have this flag that works properly, and it's going to set it to true, meaning, hey, we already loaded our components. Now, we can add a lot more error proofing in this example, so that if there is an error, we need to work this through. But right now, I'm going to set that as is. We already talked about using error boundaries in this video right here. And you can take a look at it if you want to know more about that. But right now, this is going to be just enough for this example. Finally, I need to return some products back so that my components can use them. I'm going to save this real quick. Okay, let's recap. I'm going to fetch the request function, which is in API, and you know what else? I can use the split screen here. Okay, this is my API and this is products. Okay, this is going to be good. So use API is this function that requires a URL. I'm providing the URL right here, and I also need request, which is right here. Request is going to fire fetch, format as JSON, and return that data as response. I'm using response and renaming it to products so that I know exactly what I'm working with. Let's go back to Hello World. I'm going to consume it right inside Hello World, so it's kind of easier. We have the setup function right here, and I need to import my composable. Import use products from, I'm going to use this add placeholder. This means everything that starts from the application root, so I don't have to worry about relative resolving of modules, I'm going to resolve that automatically based on this add sign. This means from the source folder. So composable, composables is right here. I love auto-completion. Products, exactly what I needed. So use products right here. I'm going to delete this console.log from our last video, and I'm going to say const products. Okay, let's check that. So we get return products. Const products is going to be use products. Composable. Okay, now I need to do something with use products, and I'm going to return products. But this is not going to work out of the box because I need to await. Why await? Let's show it here, products. I need to wait because this is an asynchronous function, and inside the function boundary we are awaiting another request, right? Which means this function is just going to return a promise unless I put await. Await use products means it's going to load and then return the products as they become available from the response. I also need to use async setup. Okay, now I would say that this is everything we need, but it is not. As you may have seen in my other video on using suspense, we actually need to use a suspense boundary when using async setup, right? What does this mean? Just to recap, this means that if there is an async setup, it means that that component uses promises, and suspense is going to recognize those promises and wait until the promises are resolved. Maybe we can think of suspense as Vue's declarative async wait. I think I kind of like that. Okay, so we need to wrap hello world in a suspense boundary. Let's go back to app.vue and wrap hello world in a suspense boundary. It's going to be very easy, I assure you. Go back to app view, and this is very simple. Suspense right here, okay? And close suspense. In my previous video, we saw how we can use templates for fallback and default when this hello world has been successfully created. Well, you know, I can do that here as well. So template, this is default, right? This means whenever the promise is resolved, close template. And I'm going to create another template. It's going to be fallback, right? Close template. So my fallback is going to be some kind of div that says loading. Right, okay, template suspense, this should work fine. Go back to my hello world, just double checking this. I need to do something with these products. Okay, I'm reusing these list items. So there's gonna be a v4 loop, okay, product in products. And I'm gonna loop through these li, so the key is going to be product.id, because I know I have that ID. And inside the li, I want product.title. Okay, saving, and let's double check. This is working fine, and let's show in the browser. Boom! Oh, okay. Look at that. A generic soft keyboard and a bunch of other stuff. Okay, let's go back, and you know why this is showing that ugly? Because we have li as inline block. All right, let's go ahead and remove this. And I'm also going to remove some of the other content. I say products, and I'm going to remove these other ULs from the hello world application. Just some cleanup to do. Okay, it's already reloaded. It's that fast, and ladies and gentlemen, this worked just fine. Look at that, all the products. Let me walk you through this for a second. Maybe the question is, why are these products loading without an error? So I'm fetching products. Eventually, this is going to be undefined until products are fetched. However, because I use async setup and I'm loading the products from an await, from async await, from promise, suspense is going to wait until all the promises are loaded, meaning my request is loaded and then my products are ready, and then the async setup function has finished with all the promises that are nested, right? Once everything is ready, only then will Suspense render this function, which means that by that time, my products are loaded and they're no longer undefined, unless there is an error, and then we have to worry about that too. Now, I want to say congratulations, you've done it. You were able to do this, but I wanted to take you a step further. I wanted to properly type this, and you're gonna thank yourself for properly typing functions so you know exactly what to expect. It's gonna catch any bugs very, very early on. And my favorite thing, it's gonna your IDE hopefully is gonna use that as IntelliSense. It's gonna give you hints what to do, what not to do, right? Let's go back to our use API hook and let's add types. Okay, that's gonna be a bit more difficult or tedious, but it's gonna be worth it. Before we go there, if you like this video so far, you can hit the thumbs up and like it. Feel free to subscribe to our channel because we're gonna be publishing a lot more of those, a lot more of videos from the trenches, a lot of cool content on the way. So let's get back to this example right now. So what do we have? We have the API.ts in this left-hand window and products right here. So let's break it before we fix it. The first thing that I know is that request is going to be a void promise, right? So type API request is going to be a function with a promise. And because I'm not returning anything, it's going to be void, right? Okay, so API request is going to be this function. Now the trick is, how do we type response? And I don't know what we are going to get back, but because this is a composable API, I want the product's composition or hook to tell me what to expect. So to do that, I'm going to create this new type. I'm going to call it T. And now this type is kind of a placeholder that I can forward. I don't know what it is, but whatever it is, I want my response to be it. But the way I'm going to define that response is by using that T, not just a T, because this is going to be the ref, right? So I'm actually going to say this is a type ref, and then it's going to be T, or it could be undefined, because in the beginning it is undefined until it becomes T. Ref, I'm getting from Vue, right? Because now I'm talking about a type, not a function. Ref is going to be T. Let's double check, right? Ref is going to be T or undefined. And my request is going to be the API request. Now, if I check the return, I said response is going to be ref T, request is going to be the API request type. That works beautifully. I also like to export every type so I can reuse that somewhere else. Although we are probably not going to be importing it, but let's go back to products. Now the products, this is the place where we're going to add a lot more type safety. Okay, I know a little bit about my products, so I'm just going to paste the type that I have ready. So we have variant and product. Let's go back, let's go down from product. This is the product data that I get back from the API request. It has the ID, title, and so on. One of the cool things we have is the variant, is those SKU or SKU numbers or IDs and variants. So this is going to be a variant, it's going to be an array of SKUs, and that's typed right here. This is very specific to the API that we are making. And now that we are teaching our application to know what data to expect, we can properly use that type safety within our application. And also our IntelliSense is going to know exactly what kind of data we know we're going to get from the API. I love that. Okay, it's time to use this type. I know we're going to get an array of products, in fact, not just one. And this is the place, use API. Okay, you see this, use API, then this T. Okay, use API, and this is going to be product, and then I'm going to say product plural by specifying that as an array. I expect multiple products from my use API. So this way I know that product is going to be, see that? TypeScript is so beautiful. It knows automatically that my product is going to be an array. Okay, I'm saving this. I'm getting a little bit of auto formatting done. And this is it. We can go to a greater detail, but this one trick is what I thought is worthy of knowing. If you follow this concept, every time when you work with your Vue 3 application, I highly recommend going with TypeScript. And if you follow this concept, you're gonna play it safe. Let's check in the browser, and this works beautifully. See, if I reload, it totally works. I hope you like this example of using a Vue 3 composition API and then composing on top of composing with TypeScript. I hope this was as much fun for you as it was for me. Please stick around. We have a lot more content to show with you. See you in the next episode. Goodbye.